The type 1 personality type is referred to as the reformer or the good person. They're ones who are conscientious, they're ethical, and they have a very strong sense of right and wrong. These tend to be teachers, crusaders, and advocates for change. They're always striving to improve things, but they're also afraid of making a mistake. They're well organized, they're orderly, they're fastidious, and they try to maintain a high standard. But they can also slip into being critical and perfectionistic. They typically have problems with resentment and impatience. At their best, though, they tend to be discerning, realistic, and noble. They're even morally heroic. Within your personality type as the reformer or the good person, you want to take a moment to see how your distorted tendencies were developed. And by understanding how they were developed, you're then better able or capable of being able to counteract them and turn them into more positive tendencies. So first, you tended to come about these distorted tendencies because you were rewarded for being good and doing the right things, and you were punished because you did bad or you did the bad things. Maybe you were told that you were a good girl or a bad boy. You also developed the belief that you were somebody. If your ideals were higher than somebody else, you became competitive in nature and you had to be better than other people. You were also going to be a nobody if you weren't perfect. You also believed that by seeking excellence, you were better. You needed to have higher standards than others. And by having higher standards, that meant that you were better than other people. You also believed that you would have social approval and good feelings if you were an overachiever. Another ways that you have developed these distorted tendencies is because you came to believe that others wouldn't really like you unless you were perfect. And you discovered you had to do things better. And if you wanted them done, you could do it yourself. Or the rule is, if you want to do it right, you better do it yourself. You learned that you needed to control yourself and to others. And this is where those rules came in and all those prescribed shoulds that you tend to fall back on in your personality. You tend to be given or you assumed a responsibility at a young age, and you were really expected to grow up early. You had to be a parent to your siblings or a parent to other people. Maybe you were even a parent to your parent. You might be the oldest person or the oldest child in the family, and you learned at home or at school that being angry really was unacceptable. So let's look at the results of some of these distorted tendencies, because when we have a distorted tendency, we are missing out on parts of life. So for the reformer, you are going to miss out on that spontaneity, the gaiety, the fun, that lightheartedness, because you're too serious. You are going to miss out on those more carefree interactions with other people. You miss out on trust in yourself, trust in others, and trust in reality. You no longer go with the flow and enjoy the moment. You forget that you don't get to participate in the process or enjoying the process because you want to be controlling and you're always trying to push things along. You are missing out on relaxation and feeling relaxed. You miss out on tolerance and accepted, and instead of being under the gun, you're scrutinized, criticized, and pressured. You miss out on being yourself instead of having to prove yourself. Living an unexamined life that is not being criticized. And also, just not being perfect. Sometimes it's okay to do things half well, just because you want to do it, and because sometimes it's worth doing something just because you want to try it. It doesn't have to be perfect.